and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, the show where Tennille and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. And we are here at the beginning. And by the beginning, I mean this is movie like number 3 in the playlist. This is obviously much farther down the line. You can probably tell by the art style. If you're watching it when it comes out, cool. Hello, we're going back in time. If you're watching it all in order
in the playlist,
hello, you got a lot ahead of you.
Yeah, in the present times, we're nearing the end of the 70s.
Yeah, we just finished 78. We're going to go to 79 next.
Yeah. But anyway, today we're looking at The Seven Ravens, or in its native language, Das Seven Ravens. Probably completely butchered that.
1937, Germany.
Nazi Germany.
Nazi Germany.
Oh boy! This actually doesn't have anything.
This movie
really
has
bad
nothing
in
to
it.
do with Nazis.
No propaganda. At least not any overt propaganda that I could pick up on, because it's literally just the Seven Ravens, or, as we've seen in Animation Pilgrimage a couple of times here in the future, past, the Seven Swans.
Yeah, so we've seen a couple adaptations of this farther down the line. We'll try not to compare it too much to those, because this will come before the others. But it has a lot of similarities, but some very glaring differences.
Yeah. So,
want to get started?
Well, first thing I want to point out is that this film is gorgeous.
Oh my god! Lip sync on stop motion animation in 1937? Subtle animation movement? What is this? This looks
cinematography.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh my god!
Camera movement. Stop motion. We're not getting that in stop motion films in the 70s.
Well, okay. Like, the Czechoslovakia stop motion films are the closest that compare to this, but like, this is easily on quality with
the best they've given us.
Yeah.
And miles ahead of the worst they've given us.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean,
they don't do lip sync. They don't have mouths that move in Czech.
Well, not only that, but these, like, the seams, because normally if you're working with a stop motion puppet, and I can tell, like, that these are puppets that have, like,
segmented faces that you pull part of the face
and then
off.
you pull the face off so that you can put a different set of lips on the character to make it so that they can talk. The seams are so well hidden. Like you can tell they're there, and I'm sure if this film wasn't in black and white, they'd be a little bit more obvious, but like, they are super well hidden. Absolutely.
There was a couple of points where it was like, oh, I see a seam there and I see a seam there, but like, it's only when I'm actively looking for it. It's not just like oh, this is a Rankin Bass film, so the seams are part of the charm.
The seams are just the face. Like there's just a harsh cutout right there.
No, these puppets look fantastic. Let's get into some plot.
Yeah, talk about the story.
All right, so this is the story of a young German girl, because of course it's in Germany, and she's going and getting water, and the neighbors talk about, oh man, it's a shame that her 7 brothers all got turned into ravens.
Well, it's
the shame what happened to her brothers, and she's
all
like,
because of her.
And she's like, I don't have any brothers. And I'm like, oh, the poor dear. So she goes home, and mom's like, oh, they shouldn't have brought it up. Okay, fine.
So when you were born, you were a demon.
You were dying, so we had to
baptize
you. The true villain was religion. So we sent your 7 older brothers out to get water from the well, and then they dropped the jug down the well, and your father cursed them for being late and says, I hope those boys didn't turn into ravens. And then they did.
Yeah.
So, 1, this is not the girl's fault.
No.
2, it's very clearly the dad's fault.
Well,
3, why would you think that baptizing your child would fix them if they're sick?
I think that was a pretty common belief.
Okay, fine.
At different points in history. But also, I just really like the way this story is told, like this flashback, it kind of makes it feel like the way the camera works is like you see all the kids and they're all like crowded around the well and they're like looking down and they're like, oh no, someone's gotta get it. And then the dad comes out and the mom in the flashback is saying like, and then your father, he cursed all the boys and he saw 7 ravens fly by and you see them fly by. And so I just turned over to Sean and I'm like, those boys all drowned in the well. They didn't turn into ravens. They all just drowned. Trying to get the spoon back or something.
The jug.
Oh. Huh?
The jug.
Whatever it was.
So the girl is like, oh, this is all my fault.
Not really, but
it's
okay.
not, but like that, she very clearly...
I mean, it would weigh heavily on anyone.
Mm-hmm. So she goes out into the woods to find her brothers. And out in the woods, she finds a fairy godmother.
Please
fairy
show
character.
some beautiful environments here.
Oh.
God.
God. Oh, I love... Oh, this set's so good. So amazing. Like... The last film we watched chronologically was The Tale of the Fox, which is another stop-motion film.
Yeah.
That has nothing on this movie.
No.
Nothing.
Oh, also that shot where she's walking up the stairs to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
It's so good.
So good. And then and then the scene right after that where she's like at the window and like the camera zooms in and it's so and then she's like they animate her like taking off her clothes and like dressing in her nightgown and stuff. Well, they skip over that one, but then when she gets up in the morning they show her like dressing. I'm like, damn, you're just showing off now.
Yeah, the animation is so good.
Except for when the characters walk.
Yeah, the walk cycles are
pretty rough.
But like whenever characters are doing other motions.
Like the mom stitching.
Mm-hmm. This movie's really good. And this is 1937.
Yeah, it's super impressive.
Oh, I greatly appreciate this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this fairy that she finds out in the woods, spooky spirit lady, she's like, hey, I know how to fix your brothers. They're living in like
an angel or something.
It doesn't matter. She calls her like a fairy goddess or something. She says, hey, your brothers are living in like a crystal palace up into the north or something, on piles of diamonds or something.
They're sad.
They live there all alone and sad, but I know how to fix them. You need to not talk and make 7 shirts for them. And if you can do this, you can save your brothers. But if you speak or make any noise at all, you can't save them. In other adaptations, it's...
They'll die.
They'll just die.
And so will she.
Sometimes she will.
Yeah.
Other times... No, she won't die. It's just her brothers.
Oh, and also in other versions, in order to make these shirts, she's got to make them out of, like, thistles.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen in this version. She just makes it out of, like, cotton or something.
Yeah, and she's not allowed to, like, use anything to pull the thistles except for her bare hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like...
This particular version does not explicitly state any of the stuff about the nettles, so it's a little more kind.
Yeah, it's like stinging nettle.
Yeah. It's a bit more kind this time around.
A little bit. She still has to be a mute for
X
7 years. Like,
however many years it takes her to make them.
I think commonly the story goes is that it takes her a year to make a shirt. So it is 7 years.
Okay.
Because she is a little girl, and then, like, we get this kind of montage of her, you know...
sitting inside a tree hollow and making shirts.
Yeah. And she's much older than...
In this version, she cuddles with a bear during the winter, and it's super adorable.
It is. The bear just comes up and he's like, what you doing?
Hey, I need to, hibernate and stuff.
I like sleeping in this tree in the winter. Can I join you? And she's like...
Yeah. Because she can't talk.
Yeah.
But she gets like the little forest animals to help her and stuff, and good for her. So time skip forward.
Uh-huh.
A prince is hunting in the woods, and he finds this random beautiful mute girl in the woods. And he's like, this girl is gonna be my wife. And there's some really sexist comments here about, she's the perfect wife. She never talks back. She's beautiful. She does whatever you want.
I mean, that's what the story is all about anyway.
I mean, yes, it's very true. The story is, the moral of the story is women should be subservient and do literally anything for men.
Yeah.
In this case, her brothers or her husband.
Yeah.
Which is not a good lesson.
It's an old Brothers...
Brother Grimm.
Yeah, Brothers Grimm fairy tale story. So, like, what do you expect?
So
she goes, she lives with the prince because, like, she really doesn't have a say in the matter.
But she's still, like, okay with it because she becomes a princess because they get married.
Yeah. And the weird thing is after this point, it doesn't show her making the shirts at all anymore.
No. Like, you don't see her making shirts anymore. In the other adaptations, she's, you are actively shown her still making them throughout the entire course of the film, even after this point.
And
but
it's
in
kind
this
of
one,
implied
no.
in the other ones, too, that, like, the curse will be broken as soon as she's done with the shirts.
Yeah.
In this one...
We'll get to it. Because
okay. I won't skip forward. Go ahead.
So she gets married to the prince. She's now a princess. Everyone loves her, but no one really knows her name. The poor especially love her because she actually, like, gives food out to the poor.
She's very charitable,
She's incredibly charitable and very kind, and everybody loves her. And then one night, she has babies. She has twin sons. What a wonderful day. They turn into ravens and fly away.
And then the handmaidens are like, she's a witch!
Witchcraft! So,
and she's, this poor girl, like, her baby boys turn into ravens and they fly out the window. And the handmaidens, like, run out screaming.
And then the fairy comes back and is like, don't say anything. If you make any noise,
your brothers will die.
You'll never get your brothers back or your children now, too.
Yeah. And so, like, she just, like, turns over in her bed and she just, like, is silently sobbing. It's like, Jesus.
So everyone's accusing her of witchcraft, which is a thing that happens in every adaptation. This one, like, actually works better than the other adaptations.
Yeah, because in the other ones, she doesn't have babies that turn into ravens or birds of any kind. So,
it's more so she's just a silent person that's sewing shirts out of weird materials, and people are like, that's weird, she must be a witch.
Yeah.
In this one, it's like, no, her babies turned into birds and flew away. That seems like witchcraft.
That's probably not good.
Her husband, though, still loves her and does not want to, like, everyone's like, you gotta off her. She's obviously evil.
So there are people who are, like, superstitious and they're like, yeah, she's a witch, evil, burn her at the stake. The husband, Prince, does not want to sign the papers to agree to this. And then there's, like, quite a few townsfolk and, like, the gesture that, like, opens and closes. Does he close it? No, he
does. He closes it in the most awkward way possible. Well, we'll get to it later.
Yeah, there's a bookend where there's a gesture character who's, like, telling the story.
And he's also in the story.
And he strums his lute, lyre, whatever.
It's a lute.
It's a lute?
It's, like, his hand movements match the chords.
He makes chords. What the fuck?
This is so good.
I'm just impressed.
He does it multiple times with different songs.
But anyway, he and, like, a few other people are like, no, the princess was so nice. You can't do this even if she is a witch.
So the reason they're trying to coerce the prince in signing off on this is because they're, like, the legal system is saying, well, if you don't burn your wife at the stake, it'll look like you're letting the rich get away with whatever they want, and then the poor will revolt because we're not law-abiding citizens being the rich.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, wow, that's really manipulative.
Yeah.
I get what you're going for. It's like, you have to follow the laws even if you're rich, otherwise people will hate you.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, like, that's the meaning.
So he signs the papers.
He finally agrees to it, but he still hates that he did it and loves his wife.
And he comes, like, over to her cell and he's like, if there was ever a time to say something, now's the time. And it's like...
She's like, I can't say anything.
Well, she's like...
Doing the same joke again. Okay. They're like, all right, well, you're a witch, so we're going to burn you at the stake. And they cart her off to be burned at the stake. Back in her room, the fairy grabs, I guess, the completed shirts that who knows when they were completed.
What the hell, fairy?
Has the queen or the princess been sitting on those for a while now? She just complete them? In the other adaptations, she is shown to still be sewing the shirts in, like, as she's being led to be burned at the stake, sometimes finishing on the pyre itself.
Yeah.
This version doesn't do that. She's finished sometime before, and
the angel fairy is just like,
I'm waiting until now.
Yeah.
And so she grabs all the shirts, teleports over to where the brothers are. She transforms them back into boys who are now men.
Still has a little bird wing.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Transforms them back into boys who are now men because they aged. And so they race to the town because they know where it is somehow. This part of the adaptation never works.
No,
it's like,
I mean, this is a weird story.
It's true. The oldest brother steals a horse, gets there in time, stops his sister from being burned at the stake. He's like, she saved us and stuff. And then the fairy just poofs into existence and hands the two babies back to her.
Happy end.
And then,
the end.
Like, we cut to the jester talking to some of the other characters that were on the hunting trip, because the jester was on the hunting trip too. And he's like, man, that was cool, and everybody's happy now. And, like, I always knew it was going to turn out well. And
Told you so.
Told you so. How about we go check in on the party? And then, like, a curtain falls into screen, like, stop motion. It's just the end. It's like, what? I thought we were going to get a little bit more resolution. But no, the movie...
We don't even get to hear her speak again.
Yeah. It's like they didn't get an adult voice actress for her or something.
Yeah.
It just stops. It's
the end.
Most awkward cut I've seen at the end of a movie. Pretty much this entire... Well, no, there's like one or two up to this point that come close. But this is one of the more awkward endings we've gotten.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So we've already established that the 7 brothers being turned into ravens was definitely because the dad cursed them. Why did her sons turn into ravens then? Because she's not the cause.
I don't know.
Bad story writing.
Yeah, like, okay.
It's like obviously bad plot.
This is a movie that I recommend solely for the eye candy.
Oh my god, this movie is so pretty to look at. The camera movements, the just sets in general, the puppets, the lip sync, the animation other than the walking. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah. It's really, really good.
The plot is fine. The message is bad, but that just comes with the bad story. Like, this particular story doesn't have a great message for today, because this was made 90 years ago.
Yeah. And I mean,
hold on. 83 years ago.
Yeah.
There. Almost 90, but 83 years ago.
And in fact, if you notice, this film was made in 1937, which is the same year Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out. This film was actually released about 2 or 3 weeks before Snow White.
Wow. I mean, completely different country.
Mm-hmm.
But neat.
Well, what's kind of interesting is, allegedly, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was a lot more popular in Germany. We know that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was a pretty popular film in Germany because it takes place in Germany.
That makes sense.
A big Hollywood studio.
Yeah.
Doing a movie about your country.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Before you get into your other stuff, I do want to, before I forget, I want to say thank you to Nerd Bros Inc. for finding this movie for you.
Yeah, because this is one that we obviously were not able to find up till now.
Mm-hmm. And since then, it has become available, and they found it for us, and I thank you very much for finding that.
Yeah.
This was so pretty. I'm so glad we finally watched this.
Mm-hmm. If you can get a hold of this, I definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're interested in the history of stop motion animation. This is amazing for the time it came out.
Yeah. Oh my god, yes.
And also just kind of goes to show how we had two beautiful films in Germany here near the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, nothing.
It's like they gave us 2 movies and then World War II happened. And then we get pretty much nothing. I don't even remember if we've had anything since then.
Yeah.
I would have to scour the list again to double check to see if they gave us anything.
Even these directors, Dell Brothers Films, they don't. They make some other films, but none of them are ones that I think we're covering on Animation Pilgrimage.
Okay, so they're either live action or maybe puppetry or something?
Well, or they're
Short
not
films?
theatrically released.
Okay.
They're more experimental.
Okay.
And it's not surprising that, the further you get into Nazi Germany, the less and less art is valued.
Yeah.
So, even this, something that was made in Germany for German people with a German fairy tale story, doesn't have a whole lot of history or even really seems to be appreciated all that much for what it was then.
I think a lot of it is just people see when it came out and they're like, oh, It's got to be propaganda or something, which it's not.
Yeah, it's actually not.
Honestly not. There is no...
I was afraid going into this that it would be.
Yeah, there is no message about our land being better than others or superiority, even subtle stuff of
Nazi Germany did produce some animated propaganda, but most of it's just been completely lost to time.
Mm-hmm.
Or purposefully lost to time.
Yeah, hopefully that one. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, this was really good.
Check this one out if you can.
Absolutely. So, next up is the big one. The big one that starts them all. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
If you're watching in the playlist.
Yes. Or if you're watching this as the episodes come out, we are moving on to 1979, and we are getting Nutcracker Fantasy from Sanrio in Japan.
Oh boy.
So...
see you then.
Yeah.